One has a rumbling tummy and the other has a tumbling rummy.
Let's just forget that was happening.
Why is pirating so addictive?
He said that one yesterday.
Why don't pirates shower before they walk the plank? Because they'll wash up on each other later.
Yeah.
I think that's about as good as they get. Yeah. Cool. So, one quick announcement. Kyle is missing a Lego piece. There's supposed to be 880. Anyone? No?
What was its name?
What color? What color was it?
Was it part of a regular pattern?
All right, it's all you, Kyle.
You guys, do I need to put the microphone on, or can you guys all hear me okay? What?
Microphone, please.
I'm sure.
What? You just asked a question. You didn't stir the pot. It's hard to hear you.
Okay.
Are you discriminating against me?
No, I'm hard of hearing too. I'm stalking you. I want to see stalking you. Uh-oh. Let me sit down. Whoa, hey,
Oh, says the guy violates the HR policy. Yeah.
So, has anybody here read the book Personal Kanban? No one?
No.
I met him a couple months ago.
Jim Benson? Personal Kanban. So, when I joined Nelnet, one of the first things that my team wanted to do was to get more agile. Infrastructure team, and use Scrum probably wasn't the right approach for them. And so we decided that we were going to start implementing Kanban. And I've been around Agile for a long time, and I thought, I can do this. But I was wrong, because Kanban is more complicated than I realized. Basically, I realized that I didn't understand why I was doing a lot of what I was doing. So when you guys do in the Scrum, you have it on a board, you know why. That's what kind of launched this whole thing. Is there anyone here who hasn't attended? Do I need to do, I'm Kyle Wilson, I'm working on that? Okay. Yeah. So that's where this comes from. What happened then was I picked up the book Personal Kanban, and I led a 6-week course in our Agile group at Lincoln, Agile LK. 6-week course where we went through the book 2 chapters at a time, and it was a group of 15 people, and we had exercises, and each of the sessions were once a week for an hour. So that's what this is all about. When I talk through this, that's what this will be discussing. So what we called this thing was a crash course. The crash course was really, it was a way for us to focus on one subject, one Agile topic. It was a Kanban request we get in our Agile community all the time. Can you teach us more about Kanban? It was that 6-week course, as I told you. We met once a week. We went 1 hour per night. Each session covered 2 chapters. The sessions were hands-on. They were collaborative. They were interactive. The real goal was that I wanted by the end of those sessions, just like we're going to do today, for people to actually experience Kanban. actually experience what it's about. So I'm going to start with this. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this discussion today, it's this. The 2 rules of personal Kanban. Now, I don't know, Kanban probably has lots more rules. I haven't gotten that far yet. But there are 2 rules of personal Kanban. Visualize your work, limit your work in progress. Is everybody familiar with WIP? Okay. So just minimize what you're focusing on at one point in time. Visualize your work, limit your work in progress. We'll discuss these in more detail here. So let's start with visualizing your work. There's a little video to get you guys started up. To get you guys started up about why it's important to visualize your work.
Oh man, this is absolutely crazy. I mean, this is borderline reckless.
You don't ride with your eyes, you ride with your heart.
It's just dumb. I can't see a thing.
You gotta feel the road. You gotta really live inside. Are you feeling anything now?
I'm feeling a little bit.
What do you feel? Tell me what you feel.
I'm feeling the warm woods.
What else?
A little bit of heat.
Imagine you in the car, held this together.
Yeah, I'm really feeling it. I feel like the car can drive itself.
I mean, it could. Start it up. Start this car. All right, so right.
Has anybody ever felt melded together with their project requirements before? Just know it. I can feel it. So, a lot of the other talks you've had this week, we've talked about the importance of dashboards. But visualizing your work is really, something that we see every day. And literally, a car dashboard is an example of that. We talked about that. One of my favorites, though, is, you think about your cell phone. When you pull your cell phone out, and you open the home screen, there's a couple things on there. There's a clock, right, what time of day it is. But what's in the upper right-hand corner? Battery indicator. Early iPhones didn't have a battery indicator like this. You couldn't tell what percentage, it had an indicator, I think, but you couldn't tell what percentage your battery had left on it. And it was super annoying. So, can you imagine having a battery indicator on your cell phone? Could you trust your cell phone? Would you know how much battery was left? You'd be plugging it all the time. Everywhere you went, you'd be like, I better charge it. So when you have a dashboard like this, it just helps you measure and adjust to the progress towards your goal. And that's an important thing. And I won't rehash this too much because you've seen a lot of this before. So how does that apply to Kanban? Well, when you look at a Kanban board, it's just a dashboard. And at a glance, you can understand the status of your work without knowing all the details about it. And that's great. So let me just compare that to, if you think about a backlog or a to-do list, you can see the difference. And a to-do list, what does that list tell you about your work? What can you see at a glance from your to-do list? Kind of tell how big it is, maybe? How long it is? But a Kanban board has everything kind of laid out for you, and you can see at a glance what state your work is in. In its simplest form, it's to do, doing, done, right? If you've got a to-do list, one of the things that you tend to run into is you've got to delve into the details. What's the status of this to-do item? What's the due date of it? What category is it? What project is it for? You have to delve, you have to open those items, you have to look at them, but on a Kanban board, they're just visible, they're all right for you. So why is it so important that we have this kind of dashboard view that we can easily visualize? Well, let's just take a look at examples of other things that we visualize very quickly. You guys know what these are? Sure. What's this one here in the how about the one at the top? How about the one far left, the yellow? Okay. What about the one with X at the bottom? You guys know it. Your Kanban board does that for your work. visualize your work on a Kanban board, you'll see things instantly that you did not see before. Now, on our team, the infrastructure team, this is a new concept for us. I know for a lot of you guys that have been doing Scrum, sure, this makes perfect sense to you. You've been doing this for a long time. But there are parts of Nomad that don't know this. So, you guys have a stack of cups with a little bag of marbles on the top. On your desk. I'm going to give you guys one. Grab one. If you don't have one on your table, you guys have one? If you guys don't have? So, was there, I gave one table too. Yes. Yeah. We can get it to this table over here. If you don't have one, migrate to a table that does. Particularly a table with, yeah, without some people at it. I know there's a set on one of those small tables over there. Maybe you guys could work together over there.
I'm not picking up your logic.
So I want you to kind of experience what it's like. Now, if you've taken the marbles out of the bag, you've already failed.
Thanks, Amy.
Because the first step in the instructions is what? Open the bag, do not empty. So take the marbles and put them back in the bag if you haven't done that already. Okay, so the first exercise is pretty simple. Everyone at the table, I just grab a sticky note or whatever, and I want you to do some basic estimating. All right? Without dumping the marbles out of the bag, look into the bag and estimate the number of white marbles. Estimate the number of marble colors. Estimate which color has the most marbles. I don't have it up there, but while we're at it, let's do a really easy one because this should be simple. How many marbles are in the bag? Anybody still working?
Yes.
All right. Still working? All right, you guys ready to go on step 2? Now, with the bag of marbles, what I want you to do is pour the marbles into one of the cups. Pour the marbles into one of the cups. Don't lose the marbles, please. I probably should have thrown this in there, but the marbles are not for you to keep. That's kind of a lot of money, unfortunately. So I want you to do the same estimating procedure again. Now, how many white marbles are there? What's the number of colors of marbles? And which color has the most? And then go ahead and estimate how many marbles there are total. Everybody get a chance? Still moving around? I keep hearing marbles, so I assume you guys are still working. Okay, there's going to be one more pass through this. Now I want you to take the marbles and organize them by color into all of the buckets that you got. So I estimate now, number of white marbles, number of marble colors, which color has the most marbles, and you can estimate the total number.
No.
Everybody still working on their estimates? Everybody done? So let's talk now. Whose estimates changed over the course of that exercise? Why? Because,
More information.
right, you get more information as you go along. It's very easy now to tell how many colors there are, isn't it? Although maybe not, because I threw a little bit of curveball in there. Are there 6 white marbles, or are there only 4? But you guys can kind of see who guessed the total number of marbles right at the start when you began. Who guessed the total number of marbles right by the end? So organizing things in this way really helps you see things differently, doesn't it? So here's the way I like to think of this, guys. The first step of this exercise is unplanned work. Who's ever asked a developer how long something will take, and they kind of go, about a week? That's this. That's unplanned work. It's in my head. I kind of done it before. I know what it's going to take. Unplanned work. There's hidden surprises, I guarantee you, inside that bag. To-do lists are like our second step. You got it all in front of you, but it's kind of hard to see the details. It's covered up, you can look at it from different angles. You really study it, you can find out the information you want, but it's not quite as obvious. By the third step, what do we have? We have a Kanban board, right? They're organized in a way that we can very quickly see how many marbles are in each bin. We can tell how many colors there are. Make sense? Okay. I know this isn't shocking information for a lot of you who are doing Scrum, but this exercise for me really kind of emphasizes why, a Kanban board is an important part of managing our work. So we're going to move on to work in progress now, the second rule. So that was visualizing the work, why we visualize the work, why it's so important. Now we're going to talk about managing work in progress. By limiting work in progress, we really improve the team's focus. We improve our own focus. So for me, if my wife can give me a really long honey-do list of the weekend, does anybody else have that problem, their spouse giving them a long list of things to do? Usually the list does not come in paper form. And so I don't even know where to start. I'm like, oh man, you just told me to do 10 things. I don't know which one's the most important to you, all that kind of stuff. So limiting work in progress helps me to focus. It helps my kids to focus. We've got the same problem with that. Reducing context switching, which is a penalty. You guys are familiar with this, right? This is one of the things that my kids absolutely hate. My wife will say, hey, I want you to do the dishes. And then they'll start doing the dishes and she'll say, you need to take the trash out. Which is it? What do you want me to do? By the time they're done taking the trash out, they need to sweep the floor. What about the dishes? Limiting WIP helps you complete something. Does anybody have problems with unfinished work? Does anybody have a to-do list at home that's unfinished? A project at home that's unfinished? So personal Kanban doesn't only apply to home. But that's one of the focuses of personal Kanban is let's keep it simple. Let's start simple. Start with something simple. So a lot of the examples I'm going to use today are from my home life. Please don't judge. And then, I love this phrase, stop starting and start finishing. Keep that in mind when you think about how you're going to apply Kanban to your personal life or to your work life. Start finishing. So let's do another exercise with the marbles, because you guys really like the marbles. I think. They're not as much fun as the Legos. They're pretty cool. So let me start with the rules of this particular exercise. First of all, we'll talk about points. At the end of this, each marble in the last cup will be worth 1 point. All the marbles of a color must be in that cup in order to get points. So if you want 8 points for the 8 green marbles, you'll have to get all 8 green marbles. So other than that, points, the rules are you're going to get 40 seconds to complete the exercise. You may only move 1 marble at a time. You can't grab the whole cup. Done. Teams can organize themselves in any way they wish, but you may only move the marbles to an adjacent cup from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4. Clear? Questions? All right. So in the first exercise, the objective is move all the marbles from 1 cup to the next. The previous cup must be empty before continuing to a successive cup. So I just want you to take the marble. 1, 2, 3, 4. You think you can get them all moved in 40 seconds? 1 at a time? From the first cup to the last?
They all start at the first cup?
They all start in the first cup. You can arrange the cups however you want. I always arrange them in a line, but now wait, don't start yet. Don't start yet. You're gonna get my timer set up. All right, are you guys ready? Notice I allowed you to do 20 seconds. All right. Are you ready? Not yet? All the marbles start the first cup. We ready now? Ready to go? All right, ready to go. Seconds. All right, that's it. Okay. Remembering that you only get credit for marbles in your final cup if all of the marbles of that color are in the cup. How many points do we get? 0? 2? How many points you guys get? None? 0? Anybody get any point other than this point table? Anybody get? Oh, we got 7 points here?
8.
8? So you move 1 color first?
Yeah.
How about you guys? Any points? One. So, I think this is an example of you have to do all the work each time you're going. We gotta move all of the marbles from cup to cup. So I want to limit our width in the next exercise. We're going to limit our width to 3. So no cup can have more than 3 marbles in it. Okay. The same rules for points. So start by moving all the marbles back to cup 1. Now, the way you can do this, guys, the way you can do this is you can team up if you want to. Move 3 marbles, then move 3 more marbles. The next person can start on those 3 marbles in the second cup. Move 3 more marbles, the third person can start. So however you guys want to organize it is up to you. If you want to do it before, like we did it last time, you'll probably have the same result. So, but you can move 3 marbles at a time. So boom, boom, all right? You can move 3 marbles from cup to cup. So you can go 3 marbles into the second cup, and then a person can start moving the 3 marbles into the third cup. Then somebody can fill up the second cup with 3 marbles while the cup is moving, while the person is moving the marbles to the third cup, and so on and so on. So you can create kind of a chain. Yeah.
Why do you have to wait for a successful cup to be empty? Why can't we keep on that everything?
Well, here's the big thing. That's a good question. You could always be putting 1 marble into one of the cups if you want to do it that way.
We can make sure that it is not bottled.
As long as there's not more than 3 marbles in one of the cups. Yep, that's a good point. So how did that think they started with all the green marbles?
But it says in all the marbles. That doesn't mean all the green marbles. So we were following the rules very literally, so that all of the marbles had to be moved from one cup to the second and then to the third.
Good job, Beth. You were correct.
It said all.
Cheaters.
Or were the rules just not clear enough?
Right
Is anybody working on a project where the rules weren't clear enough? Yeah.
What is the lesson of that?
I need the rules and I need the. That's the lesson.
All right, so this time, instead of moving all the marbles from cup to cup, I want you to move 3 at a time. Okay? Yeah.
One at a time.
One at a time with 3 and
Yeah, 3 in a cup. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I see where you're going there. 1 at a time, 3 in a cup. Okay? 1 at a time, 3 in a cup. By the way, these rules were meant to be clearer than the last time I gave this presentation. I'm doing a pretty good job.
and we're helping it.
1 at a time. Yeah, you guys are a little more critical than my typical audience.
No, it's just.
No, I mean, look, you guys all have experience with Kanban, so you're familiar with this. So you're asking good questions. I like it. Move the marbles 1 at a time. Only a maximum of 3 in any cup.
So that's the width, right?
Yep. 3 is the width.
Empty cup in between.
So, as we go through this, remember the color matters, right? Okay. Ready? All right, 40 seconds, and go. Seconds left. One second. Very good. All right, stop. 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 Okay. We got all the marbles moved.
You have thinner fingers.
All right. So, 16 points, right?
Yeah.
Who else had 16 points? Anybody else have 16? Did anybody not get any points? So we all got some points that time. Oh, you didn't get any points that time? We all got some points that time. So as you can see, things move a little bit faster in this particular round through, unless you cheated in the first round. So, or just missed the rules unclear. So we're going to try it one more time, guys. This time, it's 1. It's 1 of 1. You have to move the marbles from cup to cup to cup. Okay. So one, yep, you can never have more than one marble in any cup, except the first one, and the last one. So, line them up. I would say that he's probably good enough down there. Start with the marbles, all the first cup again. Start with the marbles, all the first cup. You're going to move the marbles from cup to cup to cup, one at a time. Assembly line might be the right move. Maybe you've got somebody with particularly fast fingers. Are you guys ready to start? All right, ready, go.
Come on! There it is. Go!
10 seconds left.
Well done. Come on, Jeff. Bogey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So did anybody not get all their marbles moved? Everyone got all the marbles moved. What was the difference? What's that? Yeah, well, I hope you didn't lose, because I heard some flying around. I hope you didn't listen.
Hold the cup steady.
What's that?
Hold the cup steady so not slide all over.
Yeah, you have learned, first of all, I'm realistic. You have learned how to do this better over time. So that's part of it, holding up still maybe is one of them. But focusing on that one single job is helpful. You know, when somebody has to move 3 marbles in and you're sitting there waiting to move the next 3 marbles, you pause, you're waiting for it, and then you gotta wait for them to move the next 3 marbles. That's difficult. In this scenario, that one, focusing on one thing, boom, 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 it makes you guys a lot more efficient. So, I mean, that's the work in progress deal here. If you can focus on a smaller subset of things, it makes you more efficient. So, let me ask you a question. What if I told you that the white marbles were worth 4 points? You would move those first. You could make an adjustment. Now, having said that, would it be easier to make that adjustment with this unplanned project view or with this Kanban board view? Why? Yeah, it's already prioritized. Yeah, you can see all the white marbles are visible. They're here. You can just grab those 4 white marbles. You don't have to fish through the bag or fish through the cup like some of you had to do to move the green marbles first. Defining work in smaller chunks improves your flexibility and it improves the efficiency of your operation too. This is the importance of WIP. Are you guys using WIP in your day-to-day work? Is anybody using WIP in their day-to-day? Anybody using it at home? Think about that. It sounds really silly, but this helps me with the kids' chores. Because we have 4 kids, and we have 2 teenagers, so we get a lot of sarcasm. And we have a middle schooler and a grade schooler now, so we get a lot of attitude. And, trying to define the work that we want them to accomplish is difficult, because you start assigning out chores. Well, those aren't my dishes, so you did those, we get all these pushback from them. When we put it up on a board and we make it visible, it's great. They hate getting chore assignments from mom, because dad's awesome and dad does Kanban boards. But mom just throws up chores. Go do this, go do that, go do the other. They never know when that is going to stop. But when you put them up on a board, they can see it. They know how far they've got to go. And let me just tell you, the kids love to move the sticky notes from home to home. It's like their favorite thing ever. It's like better than Xbox, better than Fortnite. Yeah, probably better. So it's something to keep in mind. So I'm just going to finish up by kind of going through some of what we learned in going through the course, because there were some good lessons that I think would be important for you guys to hear and you may be able to take advantage of. First of all, we worked in these 1-week iterations. We had class once a week. And we reviewed all the challenges and successes at the start of each session, kind of like a little retro, but kind of what's working for someone, what's not working for someone. Attendees updated the boards based on reading and experience by applying personal Kanban. And so this is my board. The second session of the class, we got a big poster board out. I want to actually kind of do that here, but it just, the logistics of it was too crazy. And I don't know if we have enough time either, but we got a big board out. We drew it on a poster. I really wanted them to physically experience that Kanban board. If you haven't done that, it's good because it can, a lot of times if you start with a technical tool, the technology gets in the way. We've heard that a lot. So having just this kind of manual board is really helpful. As we went along, I started, it might be hard, especially in the back, to see this, but on the far left side was the board at the start and my crazy list of tasks that I was working on at home. In the middle here was kind of like week 2, week 3, where I had everything kind of sorted and organized, and by the end, I was starting to push things through. One of the things that came up during our session was that ready, doing, done wasn't enough. We wanted more. And so we started adding something we called, oh boy, I always forget what that was called. It's either the bank or parking lot, but essentially it's a blocked items column, which was super helpful because some items, like if you call let's say you're going to redo your bathroom, you call a contractor and you ask them to give you a bid, now you're blocked because you're waiting for them to come to you with a bid. So I think I have a little bit more about that. But so, you're not stuck with just the ready, doing, done columns. Your value stream, that's those columns, or your value stream, can change depending on the requirements of whatever project you're working on. The goal of personal Kanban, or the goal of any Kanban, should be effectiveness. And so, I want to talk a little bit about productivity versus efficiency versus effectiveness. Why effectiveness is really what we should be focusing on, and what Kanban really helps us with. Productivity is, you're getting a lot of work done, but you may not know if it's the right work. Kanban helps us by limiting the width, and it reduces the context switching. But the question is, you can run all you want on a treadmill, but you're not going to get very far, right? Efficiency